Hi, I'm Barry Devlin, one of the founders of the data warehousing industry and an expert in matters relating to information and its use in business to gain insights, make decisions, and take action. Speaking of data warehousing, as the badge on the bottom left of the slide says, this year is the 30th anniversary of the first data warehouse architecture described by myself and colleagues in IBM in 1988, a long time ago. The topic of this session is the production analytic platform, an architectural enhancement to the original data warehouse architecture that unites processing and storage to support modern business needs for large-scale real-time analytics and operational processing of both internally and externally sourced data. This video is presented in collaboration with IRI, the co-sort company, whose history of data processing dates back even further than data warehousing, and that's an even longer time ago. I'll leave you to read most of the biographical material here yourselves, but I'd particularly like to bring your attention to my 2013 book, Business Unintelligence, where you'll discover how I believe the world of information, process, and people is evolving to a much more complex ecosystem than anything we've seen in the past. You can also go to www.9site.com to find everything I've published in the past 10 years and more. And now, if you'd like to read the bio, you can pause the video. I'll wait for you. More than 3 decades ago, when I first got involved in business computing and how the very earliest relational databases might be used, I discovered that IT people fell into 2 broad categories. There were those, the vast majority, who wrote code, programmed and tested application systems, and generally focused on turning previously manual business tasks into logically correct and performant computer processes. The other class, of whom I was one, were more interested in the data stored, what it meant, and whether it all fit together properly. This latter class of people, I call them DATABATES for short, believed and still do that business value resides pretty much entirely in the data stored in the business's computers. For such people, data warehouses, and more recently data lakes and big data, are the center of attention. They demand management and governance. Where and how data is stored are the key considerations for system design and architecture. On the other hand, PROCESSITES, the difficult word, as you might call them, see function as the key to business value. For them, actions speak louder than data. And in this they are supported by business people whose main drive is to achieve results. PROCESSITES design and build operational systems, interactive websites where customers can order goods, and increasingly see the Internet of Things as the driver for most business activities and processes. Of course, in the real world, value derives from a combination of both storage and processing. Neither grain silos nor combine harvesters are individually capable of delivering true value. It is only the process of harvesting the grain and storing it safely that together create true value for the farmer and for society. It is my belief that this same insight must be applied to IT. Data storage and processing carry equal weight in delivering value, especially in the modern digital business where data size and speed are growing exponentially. It's time for a new relationship between DATABATES and PROCESSITES, and an architecture that gives equal weight to both data and process. So let's take a look at what such an architecture would look like. Traditional architecture divides the world into informational and operational activities. In brief, operational is about running the business, while informational is about managing it. On the left of this figure, we see that business activities like orders or invoices are driven through operational systems, from which data is passed to the enterprise data warehouse and data marts for decision making and action taking. But you know all that. Today, a data warehouse is often supplemented by a data lake into which digital activities from social media or the Internet of Things are fed. Here, models are created and analyses performed. In the case of real-time decision-making, data and models may be fed back into the operational environment for immediate action, and then into the data warehouse for longer-term analysis and use. Furthermore, data is often shared in the background, those sad grey arrows, between the various systems. Note that this view is data-centric. The various stores and their characteristics are emphasized in contrast to the processes represented by unlabeled arrows. This disparity of emphasis becomes clear only when you look at this picture through the eyes of a process-centric company like IRI. They question what all these arrows do, why there are so many of them doing what could or should be part of the same process, and why there are all these different stores containing partial copies of the same data. The production analytic platform shown here evolved in two stages. The first stage, represented by the dashed green box, was driven by the fact that modern relational databases are capable of storing and processing multiple types of data more efficiently and quickly than ever before. This suggested that at least some of the layering showed on the left could be eliminated, allowing a far more efficient approach to operational analytics. The second stage, shown as the solid green box and green arrows, represented the realization that processing outside the databases could be at least an equal partner with that occurring within the databases, and in many cases could offer a better solution to today's data management requirements when based upon a modern, integrated, and highly optimized processing environment, such as that offered by IRI Veracity. Data processing in Veracity is powered by CoSort, IRI's multi-threaded manipulation engine and metadata language for data transformation, cleansing, and reporting. Combined with the Eclipse integrated development environment, Hadoop, and more, Veracity offers a full stack of data lifestyle management capabilities. As shown, the platform supports an extensive range of both sources and targets of data. Its functionality covers data discovery, integration and governance, migration and analysis, and it supports the design and deployment phases of such functions. Further details can be found at www.iri.com/products/Veracity. So what can a powerful processing framework, such as the one in Veracity, offer in support of a production analytic platform? The first use case, and the one that caused me to extend my concept of the production analytic platform, is in the delayering of the traditional data warehouse environment. Delayering is possible, and indeed indicated, where data can be reliably delivered and turned into information with analytic value faster. In this case, Veracity's single-pass in-memory processing supports that faster data delivery and thus allows removing some of those traditional layers in a data warehouse architecture. To be more specific, when you can optimize and combine data cleansing, integration, masking, and reporting, you're only one I/O from the original source all the way to the user. This also reduces storage needs and eases the management of multiple near copies of data between layers that are now no longer, or at least less, needed. Veracity also uses a single language and environment for developing, deploying and maintaining this work. The data layouts, manipulation specs, rule libraries, data classes and other forms of metadata are easily created, accessed, shared and reused. That kind of integration also speeds time to solution, of course, but more importantly for the integrated cleansing, reconciliation and subsetting of the data itself. Design simplification is also important when you consider the increasing amount and range of real-time data, especially from the Internet of Things, now being used in operational analytics use cases. Veracity allows a single process for the capture, integration and basic analysis of IoT data to both the model development and execution environments, but gets all that defined and managed from a single platform. Veracity further offers a simplified form of data virtualization, allowing direct access by business people to the ultimate sources of data. Because a single set of common metadata supports both virtualization and offline processing, the alignment of cleansing and integration in different time frames is more easily achieved. These and similar use cases should give even the most hardened DATABATES pause for thought when designing a new data management system or upgrading existing ones. The opportunity is to reduce the data storage and management costs of multiple near copies of data through the use of a more sophisticated, highly integrated and high-speed data delivery environment. Of course, there remain good reasons for preserving data for posterity, something that committed processites must also bear in mind. The agreed, legally binding historical record of the business, what I call core business information, must be preserved for reference and use across the entire business. This is not a store of all business data, but rather a subset of that typically found in the enterprise data warehouse. Indeed, it should be seen as an end in itself rather than the intermediate layer and reporting environment typically assigned to EDWs. A second reason for storing intermediate copies of data during processing is to enable temporal reconciliation of related data that arrives asynchronously from different source systems. This situation often arises with older batch-oriented systems, particularly in finance. As is often the case in IT, the boundaries between different tools and technologies become blurred. Today's databases are far more than data stores, often offering considerable processing power that can be applied in data preparation, reconciliation, and reporting. Designers of modern data delivery environments must therefore continue to make design choices that balance the work of preparation and reconciliation, both across layers of storage and between multiple processing paths within the overall environment. In conclusion, we can say that, like the farmers and the cowboys of that old musical, Oklahoma, DATABATES and processites must be friends. Data management professionals designing and building data warehouses, lakes, and more must become more familiar with process-oriented approaches and learn to apply them more widely. And in this, IRI Veracity offers an excellent place to start. Meanwhile, programmers and other professionals with a processing focus must consider databases and stores more carefully as integral parts of overall solutions, especially as volumes increase and work performed within them would tax online query users. The bottom line is that in a world that is overpopulated with data, among other things, an overarching goal must be to avoid creating yet more copies. However partial of the data that needs to be stored, managed and governed at increasing cost. If you want to read or hear more about the topics I've discussed here, please see the references on the slide. My 4-part blog is available on the IRI website. My article can be found on the TDWI network, and a podcast along with David Friedland of IRI is available on the BI network. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it both useful and enjoyable.